Hey, folks, welcome to InTheMoneyStocks.com's intraday analysis video, brought to you by the creators of proprietary price, pattern, and time methodology. Learn the PPT strategies and profit for life. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. All right, today's day, Tuesday, June 17th, 2014. Volume 50 million just about to hit here at 2:34 p.m. Eastern Time. Markets have floated up after some early volatility. Please notice again how you have this downsloping trend line, which worked early in the day yesterday and midday to early afternoon yesterday to propel the markets down. Today you bounced above it. You never confirmed, though. This is a proprietary indicator confirmation. If you understand it, you are ahead of the game and you are very profitable as an investor and trader. Notice again, you broke above the 200 in this trend line, did not confirm, came right into double top. The markets pulled back beautifully, got back down. As you came up again, you got above the level, you confirmed above the level, and now you've continued. Confirmation tells you if it's a true breakout or a fake breakout. Fake breakouts will reverse generally. True breakouts, once they confirm, should continue in that direction, and you have seen that today beautifully. Now, the markets are short-term overbought, but there's no volume behind this market. This is what you would expect from a light volume market, so I would just say continue to expect the same. Yeah, we could pull back a little bit because of the overbought stature of this market intraday, but you're not looking for much of a pullback. I think for the most part, they'll keep this market, see these pivot highs from the last couple days, yesterday and today. You'll probably keep the market right here on a pullback level with the 20 MA. Why is the market somewhat on the pause side? The answer is very simple. Because tomorrow we're all awaiting the FOMC policy statement. Now, a couple interesting factors today that I thought were very, very interesting. Number one, all right, this morning we got CPI, Consumer Price Index. That's a gauge of inflation on the consumer side. It was hot, meaning it was high. There's a lot of inflation starting to bubble up in these last few CPI numbers. That has to be a concern. That's got to be something that the Fed has to pay attention to. The Fed does not want inflation right now because it means they can't stimulate. All right, the more inflation, the less stimulus. Now, tomorrow they're expected to withdraw another $10 billion in QE. All right, it's going to bring that total down towards zero. Still not at zero, but getting closer and closer to zero. And it's something you want to pay attention to, okay? If they don't do it, it would be a big deal. But I think at this stage, especially with those CPI numbers, they will do it. The question is going to be their comments. What do they say about the economy? All right, we also got some home builder numbers this morning, which were very weak as well. And I think that's a big, big issue here. All right, these home builder numbers have to be monitored. Because, home building and the housing market has been one of the keys of why the market has come off its lows. The economy has done a little bit better. But at the same time, if it starts to stall out again, guess what? We're going to revisit 2008, 2007, and 2009. All right, and that's something that has to be paid very close attention to on the charts. So right now, anyways, the market's on hold. Volume should remain light. Maybe a small, minor pullback down, but I don't think much of a pullback. If anything, neutral to sideways action into the close, and that's what you're looking for. All right, now there are some things that I'm paying attention to. All right, number one, I gave out to my members last night in the in the nightly video, and I also gave it to you guys in the intraday, CLF. All right, I said CLF, Cliffs Natural Resources, should pop. Look at the pop it had today. All right, if you're a member in the intraday stock chat, we took off some profits here and moved out of that. Just a simple pop on this chart, very, very simple. It was a no-brainer if you looked. And actually, this pullback's probably another buying opportunity. But I think I'm going to wait to see what the Fed does tomorrow to determine whether or not I jump back in. But in any case, classic reversal candle on the daily chart. Yesterday a pause day, and today a beautiful pop. And you just take your money and run. It was a beautiful trade right there, all right? What else do we have going on here? Yahoo. Yahoo continues to be weak. Yesterday we heard from Alibaba prior to their IPO about their general numbers, their growth, their this, their that, and we did see that right now Alibaba's not growing as fast as you would have expected, and therefore the stock Yahoo, which has a huge stake in Alibaba, is coming back in, and you've seen that a two-day pullback. And really, in all fairness, there is some support down here. You can see these little low pivots right here, and that is a little bit of an interesting level, so something to keep in mind. Okay? All right, so that's what we have going on here, and let's just take a look at the other factors. A couple other things to note here on the charts. Qualcomm today. Let's take a look at Qualcomm. Qualcomm's bouncing back, but notice how it's below the 50 and the 20 here. As long as it stays below, you should actually be looking for more downside. I think Qualcomm's in an area where it's probably going to hit some walls. All right, Micron Technology, keeping an eye on this one. This should be topping out in this vicinity here, this 32 and a quarter-ish area, give or take a little bit. Should be a little bit of a top area on Micron MU. And again, watch for that one. One stock or one ETF that's catching my attention today, the VXX, which is the Volatility Index ETF. It's tracking future contracts on the volatility front. This is taking a battering today. It's interesting that it's taking a battering before the Fed tomorrow. What that's telling you is that the market does not anticipate the Fed ruffling any feathers. Now the question is if that this is the interesting thing is because usually going into a Fed meeting it will pop up. And when it doesn't and it pulls back like this, it tells you that they're factoring in no issues. If there's any sort of small issue, you might actually see some great action on the VXX. So this is one of those things where, to be honest, you may want to pick up some in this lower range maybe tomorrow morning. Let's say 30 and a half if it drops another 25 cents prior to the announcement tomorrow in the afternoon. Just because, again, yeah, you could lose 30 cents on it if the Fed doesn't do anything crazy, but you actually could make a buck plus on it if the Fed does do something that's not expected. So it's almost like an option play there where you do have some risk, but the reward might be pretty solid as well. So something just to keep an eye on here as we watch the markets trade. A couple other things to go over. Apple today, AAPL, kind of flat on the day here. And what I want you guys to pay attention to here, this trend line's from that gap fill, which was a beautiful sell-off, got just above it on light volume before it came crashing down. But look at this pattern starting to develop. You may have a bearish pattern. It's very preliminary, but watch over the next 3 days to 4 days in terms of trading. And if this goes sideways, you actually do have a very nice potential bearish pattern there. Okay, so watch that very closely. Let's see what else we have here. Amazon today, AMZN, down about $1. That stock had a big pop a couple weeks ago, has topped out and kind of stalled out over the last week. Some stocks that are weak today, DuPont. I love this DuPont, guys, because it's getting so close. This is a major trend line right here. You're dealing with the 50, but this is the one you're watching. You get below this, DuPont gets crushed very, very quickly. All right, so just a little issue there to keep an eye on. Chevron today pulling back a little bit. Exxon down nicely. So we're seeing oil stocks, even though the Iraqi situation continues to be pretty ugly. You are seeing oil, the USO, down 15 cents. We're seeing oil stocks pulling back. And I think people are realizing that for the most part, already issues there have been factored in on the oil price, and things are starting to stall out. I still think you might have one more move up when we get closer to July 4th. But I think in the short term, this is probably taking a pause just because it's had such massive gains in such a short time. All right, Hewlett-Packard's flat on the day. We have Intel up slightly here, Boeing down about 20 cents. So again, it's kind of a flattish to slightly positive market. Dow is up 32 points. Nasdaq's having a very solid day on the back of Netflix. If we take a look at Netflix here today, guys, really nice day on Netflix. Tesla had a monster day yesterday, another beautiful day today. So those are carrying the Nasdaq up to the tune of 22.5 points, and the S&P's only up about 4.5 today on the day. So if we flip back to the spiders here, interesting on the spiders, you're actually making a bearish pattern here too on the daily chart. It's a little hard to see with all my lines, but listen, again, this pattern isn't fully formed yet, so you wouldn't trust it. But if it continues sideways to neutral for a few more days, you actually could have a nice pattern set up for a shorting opportunity. So watch these things. Very important. Have a great afternoon, great evening. As always, folks, it's a pleasure. Come take the 7-day free trial here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. The Research Center is what a majority of you guys will want. That's for investors and swing traders, and that's where you're going to get swing trade alerts constantly. I already put out one new one today, and it's going to be a beauty. Take care, folks. Have a great afternoon, good evening. Talk to you soon.